Thanks for joining us for another episode of Capital City News. This week we hear from Melissa Jensen, Director of the city's Housing and Neighborhood Development Department, about our long-term housing plan as it relates to Operation Rio Grande. And our History Minute this week is the 6th installment of our History of Rail. Let's get started with our legislative update and look back. At its August 21st meeting, the City Council was briefed by members of the Inland Port Authority Board about future steps. The Council will hold information gathering sessions during 2 upcoming work sessions on Tuesday, September 4th and 11th. Small cell wireless facilities, affordable housing, and zoning were also part of the discussion. Growing SLC, the city's 5-year housing plan reached a new milestone. Mayor Biskupski announced 2 new programs, one to expand fee waivers for developers and another to prevent the loss of units, regardless of income level. Visit the city's new online housing dashboard to learn more and track progress at slc.gov/hand. It's been 1 year since the launch of Operation Rio Grande. City, county, and state leaders met with partner agencies and the community to discuss the impacts, challenges, and next steps of the plan. Community members who experienced homelessness shared their stories of success and next steps on the path ahead. To track progress and learn more, visit operationriogrande.utah.gov. Over the next 2 years, residents and travelers along 1300 East will experience street reconstruction activities as crews renovate underground utilities and improve travel safety between 1300 South and 2100 South. The city hosted its first public meeting where community members met with the project team to ask questions, understand impacts, and overall benefits of travel and roadway safety. The first phase of the project will replace and repair a nearly 100-year-old sewer and water lines. The second phase will prolong the lifespan of the street by reconstructing deteriorated pavement and upgrading the drainage system. The project is expected to be completed in late fall of 2019. Business continues to grow in SLC. Over the last 2 years, the city's economic development team has attracted 29 companies, creating over 9,000 jobs and nearly $900 million in capital investments. Retail giant Amazon will soon open its regional fulfillment center in the northwest quadrant of the city. Mayor Biskupski toured the facility where customer orders will be picked, packed, and shipped for delivery. She also toured Task Easy, a national lawn care company who moved its headquarters to downtown earlier this year. The 31st annual Twilight Concert Series is back every Thursday now until September 13th at the Gallivan Center. The outdoor concert in the heart of downtown attracted 7,500 electronic and house music enthusiasts who filled the night with high-energy dancing to local DJs and the famed Diplo. For this year's lineup and tickets, visit twilightconcerts.com. Next up, we get a 1-year update on the city's housing plan as it intersects with Operation Rio Grande and addressing homelessness. Melissa Jensen, the city's Director of Housing and Neighborhood Development, has details.
The housing plan is made for everybody, from those exiting homelessness to those buying their first home. I think where the housing plan and Operation Rio Grande intersect is really that people experiencing homelessness. Those folks, I think sometimes it's so easy to lump a population together and say you're homeless. But I have to tell you, it is some of the most important work that we do is getting people off the street. For the person who doesn't have a roof over their head, it's terrifying, absolutely terrifying. Sometimes they struggle with addiction. Sometimes they have kids. Sometimes they have estranged family members. But every single person is part of our community, and it's about how do we help them reintegrate, and housing is one of the best ways to do that. It certainly solves our homeless problem when we can house folks. And so as part of that, we really focused on our federal dollars for one. So since Operation Rio Grande, we know that we've helped over 200 families access housing through outcome-based programs where they're leaving the shelter, leaving the streets, and going to an apartment with case management. And that's one immediate and critical component that we have targeted. The other piece is really a long-term vision. Even with Operation Rio Grande, and we know that we're trying to house those folks so they can be sustainable, so they can get treatment, so they can get a driver's license, so they can look for a job. There's sort of a long-term view we have to take in terms of how do we deal with this issue, not just today, but how do we plan for the future? And that really goes to our housing stock and continuing to build more housing. And that's where you see that, over the next couple of years, we have over 700 units that are going to come online. And that's compounded by, the 600 we've already got online in Salt Lake City, the previous 2 years. And so you're looking at this stock coming in, and we're really targeting a key piece of that housing stock towards permanent supportive housing, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's permanent housing for those who need it most, that are not ready to overcome their addiction, but don't want to live on the streets, or those who have severe mental illness, who really need ongoing case management. And that's what that housing is for. But the thing is, and the key is, that it has to start there. It has to start with housing. And so that's really the city's approach in light of Operation Rio Grande last year and looking for the next 5 years, is how do we set the city up for success? We've really taken year one and we said, what can we do as a city to improve this situation? So that's funneling housing trust funding to these projects, to federal funds. Year two, I think, is really going to be about community partnerships, public-private. We've looked internally and we said, as a city, here are the things we can do. And now it's about going out to our community and saying, how do we let you help us? And I say that deliberately because folks want to help. Our private partners, our businesses, our neighbors, all want to help see this problem fixed or improved. And so really our job in the second year of the housing plan is to figure out a pathway to make that happen. And we're really looking forward to that and excited about the possibility. We are working to launch a housing dashboard that will really demonstrate where we are in our plan. When we created the plan, it wasn't just going to sit on the shelf. It was always intended to be something that was actionable. And so that's where we've targeted our resources, and we want to track that, and we want to be transparent to the community in that. And so we expect that to launch later this month, and we're really excited about that as well.
And now it's time for our History Minute.
Although the Consolidated Railway solved many problems, from labor to improved service, it still had its share of customer complaints and problems. Perhaps the most bizarre problem came in the form of the transfer tickets used by the company. Since transfer tickets, used to switch cars from one line to another without paying an additional fare, were not transferable to other passengers, methods were devised to prevent their abuse of the system. To make it harder to pass a ticket off to another passenger, a variety of information was added to each ticket. Along with the date, the route, and the expiration time for the conductor to punch on the card were 7 drawings of the most typical looks for passengers. 5 of the drawings were of the most popular facial hairstyles for men: the smoothie, the handlebar, mutton chops, the Uncle Ezra, and the House of David. For the women, there were only 2 drawings available: a beautiful young woman and an old maid. Many fights broke out over women who objected to having their age and beauty judged by the unqualified eyes of the conductor. Eventually, that system was done away with, but there were other bigger changes on the horizon for the Salt Lake streetcar system.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Capital City News. To stay up to date on Salt Lake City's housing plan, visit slc.gov/hand. I'm Poonam Kumar, signing off from the up-and-coming Marmalade neighborhood.